The champagne flute trembled in my hand as my mother-in-law stood up, tapping her knife against the crystal with that practiced smile she reserved for public performances. "I'd like to make a toast," Naomi announced, her voice carrying across the baby shower like she was addressing the United Nations instead of 30 women crammed into her living room. "To my beautiful daughter Emerson, who's finally giving us the grandchild we've all been waiting for. My name is Brooke, and I should have seen it coming." After 7 years of marriage to Mason, I knew exactly how these family gatherings played out. But somehow, I still wasn't prepared for what came next. "You know," Naomi continued, her eyes finding mine across the room, "some women are just natural mothers. They understand their purpose." She paused, letting that word hang in the air like smoke. "And then there are others who, well, let's just say career ambitions don't keep you warm at night or carry on the family name." The room went dead silent. Even the ice in my drink seemed to stop clinking. "Mother," Mason whispered from beside me, but his voice had all the authority of a deflated balloon. "Oh, I'm not being mean," Naomi laughed, that tinkling sound she made when she was about to deliver her killing blow. "I'm just saying that some of us are blessed with fertility and others—" She shrugged, as if my supposed barrenness was just an unfortunate weather pattern. "Well, Brooke, honey, you're 33. Maybe it's time to accept that motherhood just isn't in God's plan for you." The words hit like a slap. Around me, women shifted uncomfortably in their seats, suddenly fascinated by their manicures or the floral arrangements. My sister-in-law Emerson sat in her throne of pastel ribbons and gift wrap, one hand resting on her 6-month bump, looking anywhere but at me. "To Emerson," Naomi raised her glass higher, "our family's blessing and future." Everyone drank. Everyone except me. My hand moved instinctively to my purse, fingers brushing against the manila envelope I'd been carrying for 3 weeks, the envelope that contained a single sheet of paper that would change everything. "Brooke," Mason's voice was barely audible. "You okay?" I looked at my husband, really looked at him. His face was flushed with embarrassment, but not the kind that comes from righteous anger. This was the flush of someone who'd been caught in the middle and chosen the easy way out. Again. "I'm fine," I said, standing up. "Just need to freshen up." The bathroom was my sanctuary, the only place in this house where I could breathe without inhaling Naomi's passive-aggressive poison. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, brown hair still perfectly styled, makeup intact, but my eyes looked like they belonged to someone who'd been holding her breath underwater for 7 years. My phone buzzed. A text from Zariah. "How's the shower from hell going? Still planning to keep the peace?" I almost laughed. Keep the peace? That's what I'd been doing since the day I married Mason. Keeping the peace while Naomi made little comments about my selfishness for wanting to establish my marketing career before having kids. Keeping the peace when she'd introduced me to her friends as Mason's wife who works, with that particular emphasis that made it sound like a character flaw. Keeping the peace through every family dinner where Emerson was praised for her natural maternal instincts while I was treated like the family disappointment. But 3 weeks ago, I'd stumbled onto something that shattered my commitment to peacekeeping forever. I'd been at Emerson's apartment, dropping off some maternity clothes she'd requested, when her phone kept buzzing on the kitchen counter. The screen lit up with message after message from someone named Rogelio. The preview text that caught my eye read, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Tanner working late again?" My blood had turned to ice water. Rogelio Fleming. I knew that name. He worked with Emerson at the marketing firm downtown. I'd met him at a few company parties, charming, handsome, and definitely not her husband. What I did next wasn't planned. It was pure instinct. While Emerson was in the shower, I took photos of those messages. Dozens of them, going back months. Messages that painted a very clear picture of an affair that had been going on since before her wedding. And then I did something that would have horrified the old me, the peacekeeping me. I arranged for a prenatal DNA test. It wasn't hard. A few strategic questions about her doctor's appointments, a friend who worked in medical billing, and access to Emerson's purse during a family dinner. The results came back exactly as I'd suspected. Tanner Duncan, that sweet, trusting man who'd been glowing with pride for months about becoming a father, wasn't the father at all. Another knock on the bathroom door. "Brooke, you've been in there a while." Mason's voice, concerned but not concerned enough to actually defend me out there. "Coming," I called back. I pulled the envelope from my purse and stared at it one more time. Inside was proof that would destroy Emerson's perfect image, shatter Tanner's world, and expose Naomi's golden child for exactly what she was. The question was, did I have the courage to use it? I opened the bathroom door and walked back into the living room, where Emerson was opening gifts with theatrical enthusiasm. Naomi was holding court near the gift table, probably still basking in the afterglow of her public humiliation of me. "Oh, good, you're back," Emerson called out sweetly. "I was just about to open your gift." I smiled, my hand tightening around the envelope. "Actually, I have something even more special for you and Tanner." The room fell silent as I walked toward the gift table, envelope in hand. Emerson's smile faltered slightly, but she kept up her performance. "Oh, how sweet! What is it?" she asked, reaching for the envelope with manicured fingers. "Just open it," I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. Tanner leaned forward from his spot on the couch, that eager expression he always wore when it came to anything baby-related. "Is it photos? Did you make us a scrapbook?" "Something like that," I replied. Emerson tore open the envelope with theatrical flair, clearly expecting some sentimental gift she could gush over. The paper crinkled as she pulled out the single sheet inside. Her face went white. "What is it, honey?" Tanner asked, standing up and moving toward her. Emerson's hands were shaking now, the paper trembling between her fingers. This is—" "What does it say?" Naomi demanded, stepping closer. "Emerson, what's wrong?" Tanner reached for the paper, but Emerson jerked it away. "No, it's nothing, just a joke." "Let me see it," Tanner said, his voice firmer now. The confusion in his eyes was already shifting to something darker. "Tanner, please, it's not—" He grabbed the paper from her hands. The silence stretched as he read, his face cycling through confusion, disbelief, and finally devastation. "What the hell is this?" he whispered. "What does it say?" Naomi practically shrieked, lunging for the paper. Tanner held it away from her, his eyes locked on Emerson. "It's a DNA test. It says, I'm not the father." The room erupted. Gasps, whispers, the sound of someone's drink hitting the floor. Naomi's face went through about 6 different expressions before settling on rage. "This is sick," she spat, whirling on me. "What kind of twisted joke is this, Brooke? Are you so jealous that you'd forge medical documents?" "I didn't forge anything," I said calmly. "You're lying," Naomi's voice cracked. "You're just bitter because you can't have children of your own, so you're trying to destroy—" "The lab is Precision Genetics on 5th Street, I interrupted. "Dr. Martinez handled the testing personally. The confirmation number is right there at the bottom." Tanner was staring at the paper like it might change if he looked hard enough. This can't be real. Emerson, tell me, this isn't real." Emerson's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Tears were streaming down her face, but she couldn't seem to form words. "Tell him," I said quietly. "Shut up!" Naomi screamed. "You don't get to speak. You've done enough damage." "Have I?" I asked, my voice still maddeningly calm. "Because I'm not the one who's been lying for months." "Emerson," Tanner's voice broke, "please, just tell me this is fake." She looked up at him, mascara streaking down her cheeks. "Tanner, I can explain—" "Oh my God," he He stumbled backward. "Oh my God, it's true!" "It was a mistake!" Emerson cried, reaching for him. "It didn't mean anything!" "A mistake?" Tanner's voice rose. "A mistake that lasted how long? How long, Emerson?" "Tanner, please." "How long?" 6 months, she whispered. The room was dead silent except for someone's quiet sobbing. I think it was Stacy, Mason's cousin, who always cried at movies. 6 months, Tanner repeated numbly. "Our entire engagement, our wedding. You've been lying to me for 6 months." "I love you," Emerson sobbed. "I love you so much, and I was going to tell you—" "When?" Tanner demanded. "When were you going to tell me I was raising another man's child?" I hoped maybe it was yours." "You hoped?" His voice cracked. "You hoped?" Mason finally found his voice. "Brooke, how could you do this? Here, in front of everyone?" I turned to look at my husband, this man who'd sat silently while his mother called me Barren, who'd never once defended me in 7 years of marriage. "Where else should I have done it, Mason? In private, so you could all convince me to keep quiet? So Tanner could spend the next 18 years raising a child that isn't his?" "That's not your decision to make," Naomi shrieked. "Isn't it?" I asked. "When you spent the last hour telling everyone what a failure I am? When you've spent years making me feel like I'm broken because I chose to focus on my career?" "This isn't about you," Emerson cried. "No," I agreed. "It's about Tanner. It's about the fact that he deserves to know the truth before he signs a birth certificate." Tanner was backing toward the door, shaking his head. "I can't. I need to go. I need to think." "Tanner, wait!" Emerson struggled to get up from her chair, her belly making it awkward. "Please, we can work through this." "Work through this?" He stopped at the door. "You cheated on me for 6 months. You married me knowing you might be carrying another man's child. What exactly are we supposed to work through?" "I made a mistake." "No," he said quietly. "A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. This is betrayal." He left, the door slamming behind him. The sound seemed to break whatever spell had held the room frozen. "Look what you've done!" Naomi hissed at me. "Look what you've destroyed!" "I didn't destroy anything," I said, grabbing my purse. "I just stopped pretending it wasn't already broken." Mason caught my arm as I headed for the door. "Brooke, wait. We need to talk about this." I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. "Do we? Because you've had plenty of chances to talk. You've had 7 years to stand up for me, and you chose silence every single time." "That's not fair." "Fair?" I laughed, and it sounded bitter even to my own ears. "Your mother just called me Barren in front of 30 people, and you think I'm being unfair?" I pulled my arm free and walked out, leaving behind the wreckage of Emerson's perfect baby shower and the illusion of the perfect family that had never really existed at all. I made it exactly 3 blocks before my phone started ringing. Mason's name flashed on the screen, but I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again, and again. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I had 14 missed calls and a string of increasingly frantic text messages. "Brooke, please come back. We need to fix this." "Mom is having a panic attack. This is insane. How could you humiliate our family like this?" I was deleting the messages when Zariah's car pulled up behind mine. She got out, took one look at my face and whistled low. "Holy shit, you actually did it." "I did it," I confirmed, my voice hollow. "How bad was the fallout?" "Tanner walked out. Emerson had a complete breakdown. Naomi accused me of forging the results. Zariah followed me into the house." "And Mason?" "Mason asked me how I could humiliate our family like this." I dropped my purse on the kitchen counter. "Not his sister, not his mother, our family." "Jesus." Zariah opened my fridge and pulled out a bottle of wine. "Okay, walk me through it. Start from the beginning." I told her everything. Naomi's toast, the envelope, Emerson's face when she read the results, Tanner's devastation. By the time I finished, we'd made a serious dent in the wine. "So what happens now?" Zariah asked. "Now?" Now I wait for the real shitstorm to begin. As if on cue, my phone rang. Mason again. You should probably answer that, Zariah said. I hit accept. What? Brooke, thank God. Where are you? Home? I'm coming over. We need to talk. Do we? Because I feel like we've said everything we need to say. Please, just give me a chance to explain. Explain what, Mason? How you sat there while your mother called me Barren. How you've never once defended me in 7 years. That's not fair. Stop saying that, I snapped. Stop telling me what's fair when you've never had to live with their judgment. Brooke, please. I'm already in the car. Just don't leave, okay? The line went dead. I stared at the phone, then at Zariah. He's coming over, I said. Want me to stay? No, this is something I need to handle alone. Zariah hugged me tight. Call me if you need backup. I mean it. After she left, I sat in my living room, staring at the wall and trying to process what I'd just done. The silence felt strange after the chaos of the afternoon. Mason's key turned in the lock 20 minutes later. He walked in looking like he'd aged 5 years in the span of 2 hours. Brooke, how's Emerson? I asked. He stopped, clearly thrown by the question. She's not good. Mum took her to the hospital. She was having contractions. Stress-induced? The doctors think so. They're monitoring her overnight. I nodded. And Tanner? He's not answering his phone. His brother said he's staying with them for a few days. Good. He needs space to process this. Mason stared at me. Good. Brooke, you just destroyed his marriage. No, Mason. Emerson destroyed his marriage. I just made sure he found out before he signed a birth certificate. You could have told him privately. When? When would have been the right time? After the baby was born. After he'd bonded with a child that isn't his. Mason sat down heavily on the couch. This isn't like you. You're not vindictive. Aren't I? I asked. Maybe you don't know me as well as you think. I know you're angry about what Mum said. What your mother said was the final straw, Mason, not the beginning. He looked up at me, confusion written across his face. What do you mean? I mean I've been dealing with her passive-aggressive bullshit for 7 years. The comments about my career. The implications that I'm selfish for not having kids yet. The way she introduces me to people like I'm some kind of disappointment. She doesn't mean... Yes, she does. I sat down across from him. She absolutely means it. And you know what the worst part is? You let her. That's not true. Name one time, Mason. One single time you've defended me to your mother. He opened his mouth, then closed it. The silence stretched between us. I thought so, I said quietly. I don't like conflict, he said finally. You know that about me. I know, but marriage isn't supposed to be conflict-free, Mason. It's supposed to be you and me against the world. Instead, it's been me against your family while you hide in the corner. I don't hide. You do. You hide behind your discomfort with confrontation while I get torn apart piece by piece. Mason's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and winced. It's Mom. She wants to know if you're going to apologize to Emerson. I laughed and it came out sharp and bitter. Apologize? For what? For telling the truth? For humiliating her in front of the entire family. She humiliated herself, Mason. I just provided the evidence. His phone buzzed again, then again. Answer it, I said. Brooke, answer it. Let's hear what Naomi has to say. Mason reluctantly swiped to accept the call. Hi, Mom. Even from across the room, I could hear Naomi's voice, high and shrill. Is she there? Is that woman there? Mum, please. Put me on speaker. I want to talk to her. Mason looked at me helplessly. I nodded. You're on speaker, Mom. Brooke. Naomi's voice filled the room like poison. I hope you're proud of yourself. My daughter is in the hospital because of your jealous little stunt. Is she okay? I asked. Don't you dare pretend to care. You've done enough damage. I asked if she's okay. The baby's fine, no thanks to you. But Emerson is devastated. Her marriage is over, her reputation is ruined, and it's all because you couldn't stand to see someone else be happy." "Someone else be happy?" I repeated. "Naomi, your daughter was cheating on her husband. She was going to let him raise another man's child. How is that happiness? That's not your business. It became my business when you spent the afternoon telling everyone what a failure I am." "You are a failure!" Naomi screamed. "You're a selfish, barren woman who can't stand to see a real woman succeed." The line went quiet. Even Mason looked shocked. "There it is," I said softly. "The truth finally." "Mum," Mason said, his voice strained, "you can't say things like that." "I can say whatever I want. She destroyed our family." "No," I said, standing up. "I saved Tanner from a lifetime of lies, and I saved myself from pretending this family was ever going to accept me." I walked to the door and grabbed my keys. "Where are you going?" Mason asked. "Somewhere I can think clearly, without your mother's voice in my head." "Brooke, wait!" But I was already gone. I drove to the 24-hour diner on Maple Street and sat in a corner booth, nursing coffee and trying to make sense of the wreckage I'd created. My phone had been buzzing non-stop, but I'd turned it face down on the table. Around midnight, Zariah slid into the seat across from me. "How did you find me?" I asked. "You always come here when you need to think. Plus, Mason called me in a panic when you didn't come home. I'm not ready to go back. I'm not here to drag you home. I'm here because you look like you're about to fall apart." The waitress refilled my coffee cup for the 4th time. I wrapped my hands around it, grateful for the warmth. "Did I do the right thing?" I asked. "You did the honest thing. Whether it was right? That's not for me to decide." "Tanner deserved to know." "Yes, he did. But maybe not like that. Not in front of everyone." Zariah reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Brooke, you've been swallowing their poison for 7 years. You finally spat it back out. Was it messy?" "Yeah, but sometimes messy is the only way to get clean." My phone lit up with another call. Mason again. "You should probably talk to him," Zariah said. I swiped to answer. "What?" "Brooke, please come home. We need to figure this out." "There's nothing to figure out, Mason. Your mother made her feelings about me very clear." "She was upset. She didn't mean—" "She meant every word, and you know it." "Where are you? I'll come get you." "I'm fine where I am." "Brooke, please. I know you're angry, but running away isn't going to solve anything." "I'm not running away. I'm taking space to think about whether I want to keep living like this." The line went quiet. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm tired, Mason. I'm tired of being the villain in your family's story. I'm tired of being treated like I'm broken because I wanted to establish my career before having kids. I'm tired of you standing by while your mother tears me down." "I'll talk to her. I'll make her apologize." "You'll make her?" "Mason, she's 58 years old. If she doesn't understand why what she said was wrong, your making her apologize isn't going to change anything." "Then what do you want me to do?" "I want you to choose, me or them, because I can't keep living in the middle anymore." "That's not fair." "Stop saying that," I snapped, loud enough that other diners turned to look. "Stop telling me what's fair when you've never had to live with their judgment." "Brooke." I hung up and turned the phone off completely. "Feel better?" Zariah asked. "No, but at least I don't have to listen to him tell me I'm being unfair." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know. Go home eventually, I guess. Face whatever comes next." "And if Mason doesn't choose you?" I stared into my coffee cup. "Then I guess I'll know where I stand." We sat in comfortable silence for a while. Around 2 a.m., Zariah drove me home. Mason's car was in the driveway, but the house was dark. "You sure you're okay?" she asked. "I will be, one way or another." I let myself in quietly, expecting Mason to be asleep. Instead, I found him sitting at the kitchen table staring at his phone. "You're up," I said. "Couldn't sleep?" He looked up at me, and I could see the exhaustion in his eyes. "Emerson's been texting me all night. What does she want?" "She wants to know if you're going to tell Rogelio about the baby." I sat down across from him. I hadn't thought about it. "She's terrified he'll want custody, or that he'll want nothing to do with it. Maybe she should have thought about that before she cheated." Mason winced. "She's still my sister, Brooke." "I know, and I'm still your wife. The question is which one of those relationships matters more to you. It's not that simple." "It is that simple. Your mother called me barren and selfish in front of 30 people. Your sister has been lying to her husband for months, and you've been letting both of them treat me like garbage for 7 years." "I never let them." "You did, by staying silent, by making excuses, by asking me to keep the peace instead of demanding they show me basic respect." Mason's phone buzzed again. He glanced at it and sighed. "Who is it now?" I asked. "Mom, she wants to have a family meeting tomorrow to discuss the situation." "Let me guess. She wants me to apologize and promise to keep quiet about what I know." "She wants to find a way to fix this." "There's nothing to fix, Mason. Emerson made her choices. Now she has to live with the consequences." "What about Tanner? What about the baby?" "What about them? Tanner deserves to know the truth, and the baby deserves to know who its real father is." "And if that destroys what's left of our family?" I looked at my husband, this man I'd loved for 7 years, and felt something shift inside me. "Your family destroyed itself, Mason. I just stopped pretending it was my job to hold the pieces together. So what happens now? Now you decide. Are you going to that family meeting to help them figure out how to manage this crisis? Or are you going to stay here and figure out how to save our marriage?" "Brooke, choose, Mason, because I'm done being the understanding wife who swallows her pride for the sake of family harmony." He stared at me for a long moment. "The meeting is at 10. Then you better get some sleep. You'll need your energy to help them figure out how to spin this." I stood up and headed for the stairs. "Where are you going?" he asked. "To bed. Alone, apparently." "Brooke, wait." But I was already gone, leaving him sitting at the kitchen table with his phone and his impossible choice. I woke up to the sound of Mason's shower running. The clock read 9:15 a.m. He was getting ready for his family meeting. I stayed in bed until I heard his car pull out of the driveway. Then I got up, made coffee, and tried to figure out what to do with myself. I'd taken the day off work, knowing I'd be in no state to deal with clients and campaigns. My phone had 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Most were from numbers I didn't recognize, probably friends and family who'd heard about yesterday's drama. I deleted them without reading, but one message caught my attention. It was from Nicole, Naomi's sister. "Brooke, can we talk? I think there are things you should know." I stared at the message for a full minute before typing back. "What kind of things?" "Not over text. Can you meet me for coffee? The Starbucks on 5th Street. "When?" "Now, if you can." I threw on jeans and a sweater and drove to the coffee shop. Nicole was already there, sitting in a corner table with 2 cups in front of her. "You came?" she said as I sat down. "You said there were things I should know." Nicole pushed one of the cups toward me. "Vanilla latte. I remembered from Christmas." "Nicole, what's going on?" She looked around the coffee shop, then leaned forward. "Naomi's been calling everyone, trying to control the narrative. She's telling people you forged the DNA results out of jealousy." I figured she would, but that's not why I wanted to see you. Nicole paused, seeming to gather her courage. "Brooke, this isn't the first time." "What do you mean?" "Emerson, this isn't her first affair." I set down my coffee cup. "What?" "During her engagement to Tanner, there was another man, a guy from her gym, It lasted about 2 months. How do you know this? Because I saw them together at a restaurant downtown. They were very affectionate. Did you tell anyone? Nicole shook her head. I confronted Emerson about it. She cried, said it was a mistake, begged me not to tell Naomi, said she'd ended it and it would never happen again. But it did happen again with Rogelio. Apparently. Nicole sipped her coffee. Brooke, I need you to understand something. Naomi knows. Knows what? About the gym guy. I told her last night after everything exploded. I thought she should know that this is a pattern. What did she say? She said it didn't matter, that Emerson was young and made mistakes, but that didn't give you the right to destroy her life. I laughed bitterly. Of course she did. There's more. Nicole looked uncomfortable. She's planning to tell Mason that you've been having an affair. What? She's going to claim that's how you knew about DNA testing, that you've been cheating and got tested yourself. That's insane. Mason would never believe that. Are you sure? Because from what I saw at the meeting this morning, he's pretty desperate to find a way to blame you for all of this. My stomach dropped. You were at the meeting. Naomi insisted. She wanted the whole family there to present a united front. And Mason went along with it. He's there right now. They're crafting a story about how you've been unstable and jealous for months, how you've been obsessed with Emerson's pregnancy. I felt sick. He wouldn't do that to me. Brooke, honey, he's doing it right now. My phone buzzed. A text from Mason. Coming home soon, we need to talk. He's on his way back, I said, showing Nicole the message. What are you going to do? I don't know. Confront him, I guess. Ask him if he really believes I'm capable of forging medical documents. Do you have proof of the DNA test being real? I have the lab's contact information, the confirmation number. They keep records. Good. You might need that. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Nicole reached across the table and squeezed my hand. For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Tanner deserved to know. Thank you. That means more than you know. Naomi's not going to let this go. She's going to keep pushing until she finds a way to make you the villain. She already has. The question is whether Mason's going to let her. I drove home with Nicole's words echoing in my head. Mason's car was in the driveway when I pulled up. I found him in the living room pacing. We need to talk, he said without preamble. So I heard. How was the family meeting? He stopped pacing. How did you... Never mind. Brooke, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Okay. Have you been having an affair? I stared at him. Are you serious right now? Just answer the question. No, Mason, I have not been having an affair. The fact that you even have to ask tells me everything I need to know about where we stand. Mum thinks. I don't care what your mother thinks. I care what you think. Do you honestly believe I'm capable of cheating on you? He looked away. I don't know what to believe anymore. Then let me make it simple for you. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to the lab's contact information. This is Dr. Martinez at Precision Genetics. Call him, ask him about the DNA test, ask him if I forged anything. Brooke, call him, Mason, right now, because if you don't trust me enough to take my word for it, then we have bigger problems than your sister's infidelity. He stared at the phone number for a long moment. Then he dialed. Dr. Martinez, this is Mason Hall. I need to ask you about a DNA test my wife arranged. Yes, that's right. No, I understand. Can you confirm the results were accurate? I watched his face change as he listened to the doctor's response. I see. And there's no possibility of error? Okay, thank you. He hung up and looked at me. The test is real. Tanner's not the father. I know. And you didn't forge anything. I know that too. Then why did Mum say, Because your mother would rather destroy me than admit her precious daughter is a serial cheater. Mason sat down heavily on the couch. She said you've been acting strange for months, obsessed with Emerson. And you believed her? I didn't know what to believe. Everything's falling apart and I needed someone to blame. So you chose me. I chose the easiest target, just like I always do. The admission hung between us like a confession. At least you're finally being honest, I said. Brooke, I'm sorry. I know I've been weak. I know I should have defended you. Should have. Past tense. I want to do better. I want to fix this. To you, because an hour ago you were in a room full of people planning to destroy my reputation to protect your sisters. I didn't agree to that, but you didn't stop it either. Mason's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and winced. Let me guess, I said. Naomi wants to know if I confess to my imaginary affair. She wants to know if you're going to apologize to Emerson. For what? For telling the truth? For humiliating her? I stood up and grabbed my keys. Where are you going? Mason asked. To see Emerson. If she wants an apology, she can ask for it herself. The hospital parking garage was nearly empty at 2 in the afternoon. I found Emerson's room on the 3rd floor, maternity ward. Through the small window in the door, I could see her lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. I knocked softly and pushed the door open. Hey, I said. She turned her head toward me, and I was shocked by how awful she looked. Her face was puffy from crying, her hair was a mess, and her eyes were red-rimmed and hollow. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice hoarse. I heard you wanted to see me. I wanted you to apologize. There's a difference. I pulled a chair closer to her bed and sat down. Apologize for what exactly? For destroying my life, for humiliating me in front of everyone, for ruining my marriage. Emerson, I didn't ruin your marriage. You did that all by yourself. She turned away from me. You don't understand. You've never understood what it's like to be part of this family. You're right. I don't understand. Explain it to me. The pressure, the expectations. Mum has this vision of who I'm supposed to be, and I've been trying to live up to it my whole life. So you cheated on your husband? I made mistakes. She turned back to me, tears streaming down her face. I'm not perfect like you think you are. I don't think I'm perfect, but I don't lie to the people I love. Don't you? What about all those times you smiled and nodded when Mom made her little comments? What about pretending you were fine when you clearly weren't? I was quiet for a moment. You're right. I did lie. I lied to keep the peace, but I never betrayed Mason. This is different. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've been lying to everyone for months. Emerson's monitor started beeping faster. A nurse poked her head in. Everything okay in here? We're fine, Emerson said quickly. The nurse looked between us suspiciously, but left. You need to calm down, I said. The stress isn't good for the baby. Don't pretend you care about my baby. I do care. That's why I did what I did. You did it for revenge. Maybe, but that doesn't make it wrong. Emerson was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Tanner won't answer my calls. Can you blame him? I love him. I really do love him. Then why did you cheat on him? Twice? She looked startled. What do you mean twice? Nicole told me about the guy from the gym during your engagement. Emerson's face went white. She promised she wouldn't tell anyone. She didn't until last night when she told your mother. Oh, God. Emerson covered her face with her hands. This keeps getting worse. It gets worse because you keep lying. Even now you're still lying. I'm not. You told Tanner the affair with Rogelio lasted 6 months. But I saw the texts, Emerson. They go back almost a year. She stared at me. You read my texts. I saw them on your counter when I was dropping off those maternity clothes. Your phone kept buzzing. You had no right. You had no right to lie to your husband about the paternity of your child. I wasn't sure. Bullshit. You knew there was a chance. You knew, and you married him anyway. Emerson started crying again, harder this time. I hoped it would work out, that the baby would be his and everything would be fine. And if it wasn't, were you just going to let him raise another man's child? I don't know. I don't know what I was going to do. Well, now you don't have to figure it out, because Tanner knows the truth. He hates me. He's hurt. There's a difference. Hi, is there? Because he won't even look at me. He had his brother come get his things from the apartment. What did you expect? That he'd just forgive you and pretend nothing happened? I expected my family to support me. Instead, Mum's having a breakdown, Dad won't talk to me, and Mason's caught in the middle. Your family is supporting you. They're trying to make me the villain to protect you. What do you mean? Your mother told Mason I forged the DNA results. She's planning to tell people I've been having an affair. Emerson looked genuinely shocked. She wouldn't do that. She would. She is. I didn't ask her to. You didn't have to. She's doing it because she can't accept that her perfect daughter is capable of this level of deception. I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be perfect. No, but you let everyone believe you were. You let them put you on a pedestal while they tore me down. I never asked them to treat you badly. But you never asked them to stop either. Emerson was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, What do you want from me, Brooke? I want you to tell the truth, all of it, to Tanner, to your family, to Rogelio. Rogelio doesn't know about the baby. He has a right to know. What if he wants custody? What if he wants to be involved? Then you'll have to deal with that, just like you'll have to deal with the consequences of everything else you've done. And if I don't? If I keep quiet? Then I'll tell him myself. Emerson stared at me. You would do that. I would, because that baby deserves to know who its father is, and Rogelio deserves to know he has a child. You really hate me, don't you? I don't hate you, Emerson. I pity you. Pity me. You had everything. A husband who adored you, a family who worshipped you, a baby on the way, and you threw it all away for what? A few months of excitement? You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You were bored. You wanted attention. You wanted to feel special. So you cheated, and when that wasn't enough, you cheated again. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're a spoiled woman who never learned that actions have consequences. Emerson's monitor started beeping again, faster this time. She pressed the call button. I think you should go, she said. Fine, but think about what I said. The truth is going to come out eventually. The question is whether you want to control how it happens. The nurse came back in as I was leaving. Is she okay? I asked. Her blood pressure's elevated. She needs to rest. I nodded and walked out, leaving Emerson alone with her lies and her choices. In the elevator, my phone buzzed. A text from Mason. Mum collapsed. We're at St. Mary's Emergency. Can you come? I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I typed back, on my way. Because despite everything, despite the years of cruelty and manipulation, she was still my husband's mother. And maybe, just maybe, it was time for all of us to face the truth. St. Mary's Emergency was chaos. I found Mason in the waiting room, his head in his hands. Nicole sat beside him, rubbing his back. How is she? I asked. Mason looked up, surprised to see me. They think it was a panic attack. Her blood pressure spiked. Is she okay? They're running tests. She keeps asking for you. For me? Nicole nodded. She wants to talk to you. The doctor said the stress is making everything worse. What kind of stress? The kind that comes from watching your family fall apart, Mason said quietly. A doctor approached us. Family of Naomi Hall. That's us. Mason said, standing. She's stable, but I need to be honest with you. This wasn't just a panic attack. Her blood pressure is dangerously high, and she's showing signs of severe anxiety. Has there been any recent trauma or stress? Mason and Nicole exchanged glances. There's been some family drama, Nicole said carefully. Well, whatever it is, it needs to be resolved. Her body can't handle this level of stress. She's asking to see someone named Brooke. That's me, I said. She's insisting she won't calm down until she talks to you. Would you be willing? I looked at Mason. He nodded. Room 314, the doctor said. But please try to keep things calm. Her heart can't take much more. I walked down the hallway, my stomach churning. Naomi was propped up in bed, looking smaller and frailer than I'd ever seen her. Monitors beeped around her, and an IV drip was attached to her arm. Brooke, she said when she saw me, you came. Mason said you wanted to see me. Sit down, please. I pulled a chair close to her bed. How are you feeling? Like I'm dying. She tried to laugh, but it came out as a wheeze. Maybe I am. The doctor says you're going to be fine. You just need to rest. Rest. She shook her head. How can I rest when my family is falling apart? Naomi, let me talk, please. I need to say this while I still can. I nodded. I've been thinking about what you said, about the truth, about consequences. She paused, struggling to catch her breath. You were right. About what? About Emerson, about all of it. Tears started rolling down her cheeks. I knew she was cheating on Tanner. Nicole told me about the gym guy, and I told her to keep quiet. I thought if we just ignored it, it would go away. But it didn't go away. It got worse, and when you exposed the DNA results, I panicked. I couldn't accept that my daughter was capable of such deception. So you tried to make me the villain. I tried to protect her, the way I've always protected her. She reached for my hand, but I was wrong. I was so wrong. Naomi, I called you Barren. I called you selfish. I said terrible things about you for years. She was crying harder now, and you never deserved any of it. Why? Why did you hate me so much? I didn't hate you. I was threatened by you. Threatened? You're everything I never was. Independent, strong. You didn't need anyone to take care of you. She squeezed my hand. I raised Emerson to be dependent, to need approval, to need me. But you were different, and I resented you for it. I never wanted to take Mason away from you. I know that now, but I was so afraid of losing control, of losing my place in his life, that I made you the enemy. We sat in silence for a moment. Then she said, There's something else you need to know. What? Rogelio called the house this morning. He knows about the baby. My blood ran cold. How? Someone from the baby shower told him. He's demanding to talk to Emerson. What did you tell him? I told him she was in the hospital. He said he'd wait, but he wants answers. Good. He deserves them. Brooke, there's more. Tanner's filing for divorce. He's also talking to a lawyer about the baby. What kind of lawyer? Family law. He wants to make sure Rogelio can't come after him for support if he's not the father. Smart, is it? Because now we have 3 men involved in this mess and a baby who's going to grow up in the middle of it. The baby will be fine. Kids are resilient. Will they? Because I keep thinking about all the damage I've done. To you, to Mason, to this family. You can't change the past, Naomi, but you can change what happens next. How? By telling the truth, by apologizing to the people you've hurt, by letting Emerson face the consequences of her actions instead of trying to protect her from them. And if she can't handle it, then she'll learn the way we all have to learn. Naomi closed her eyes. I'm tired, Brooke. I'm so tired of fighting. Then stop fighting. Stop trying to control everything and everyone. Will you forgive me? I looked at this woman who'd made my life hell for 7 years, who'd called me barren and selfish and worthless. She looked so small in that hospital bed, so broken. "I'll try," I said finally. "That's more than I deserve." "Maybe, but it's what I can give you right now." Mason appeared in the doorway. "How's she doing?" "Better," I said, standing up. "We talked?" "Good, because there's something you both need to know." He stepped into the room. "Tanner's here. He wants to see Emerson." "At the hospital?" Naomi asked. "He's on his way to her room now, and Rochelio's with him." "Oh, God," Naomi whispered. "It gets worse," Mason continued. "Emerson's doctor called. She's in early labour. The stress triggered contractions." "How early?" I asked. 34 weeks. The baby should be okay, but it's going to be touch and go." Naomi tried to sit up. "I need to be there." "No," the nurse said, appearing behind Mason. "You need to stay here and rest. Your blood pressure is still too high." "But your daughter is in good hands. But if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be any help to anyone." Mason looked at me. "Will you come with me to see Emerson?" "Are you sure you want me there?" "I'm sure, because whatever happens next, we need to face it together." I nodded. "Let's go." As we walked toward the elevator, I could hear shouting from down the hall. Tanner's voice, raised in anger, Rogelio's voice demanding answers, and underneath it all, the sound of Emerson crying. The truth was finally coming out, all of it, and there was nowhere left to hide. The shouting stopped when Mason and I reached Emerson's room. Through the window, I could see Tanner and Rogelio standing on opposite sides of her bed, both looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. "Should we go in?" Mason asked. "She's your sister." He pushed open the door. "How's everyone doing?" "Fantastic," Tanner said sarcastically, "just having a lovely chat about paternity and lies." Rogelio turned to us. "Are you Mason, Emerson's brother?" "I am." "Then maybe you can explain to me how I'm just finding out I might have a child." "Rogelio, please," Emerson said from the bed. "The contractions are getting stronger." "Good," he snapped, "because I want a DNA test the minute that baby is born." "We all do," Tanner said quietly. A nurse bustled in. "I'm going to need everyone except the father to leave." "That's the problem," Tanner said. "We don't know who the father is." The nurse looked confused. "I'm sorry." "It's complicated," Mason said. "Can we have a few more minutes?" 5 minutes. Then I need this room cleared. She's dilating quickly. After the nurse left, Rogelio turned to Emerson. "I need to know, is this baby mine?" "I don't know," she whispered. "You don't know? How can you not know?" "Because I was sleeping with both of you," she cried. "I was sleeping with my husband, and I was sleeping with you, and I don't know whose baby this is." The room went silent, except for the sound of the monitors beeping. "Jesus Christ, Emerson," Tanner said. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." "But it did happen," Rogelio said, "and now there's a baby involved." "What do you want?" Emerson asked him. "If it's yours, what do you want?" "I want to be a father. I want to be involved." Tanner laughed bitterly. "Great. So I get to watch my wife's lover raise the child I thought was mine." "Tanner," Emerson reached for him, but he stepped back. "No, I'm done. I'm done with the lies. I'm done with the drama. I'm done with all of it." "But if the baby is yours, then we'll figure out custody. But I'm not staying married to someone who's been lying to me for over a year." "A year?" Rogelio looked shocked. "You said it was 6 months." "I lied about that too," Emerson said, her voice barely audible. "Unbelievable," Rogelio muttered. Another contraction hit, and Emerson gripped the bed rails. "Oh, God, it hurts." The nurse came back in. "That's it. Everyone out except—" She looked around the room. "Who's staying?" "I am," Tanner said. "Until we know for sure I'm still legally her husband." "I want to stay too," Rogelio said. "This isn't a spectator sport," the nurse said firmly. One person only. Tanner should stay, Emerson said. Please. Rogelio looked hurt but nodded. I'll be in the waiting room. Mason and I followed him out. The waiting room was fuller now. Nicole, Jarvis, Stacy and Chulio had all arrived. They looked up expectantly when we walked in. How is she? Nicole asked. In labour, Mason said. The baby's coming. And the father situation? Jarvis asked. Still complicated, I said. Rogelio sat down heavily in a chair. This is insane. I had no idea she was married when we started, whatever this was. She told you she was single? Nicole asked. She told me a lot of things, most of them lies, apparently. My phone buzzed. A text from Zariah. Heard through the grapevine that all hell is breaking loose. You okay? I typed back, Emerson's in labour. Both potential fathers are here. It's a mess. Want me to come? No, but thanks. 2 hours later, a doctor emerged from the delivery room. The baby's here, a girl. She's small but healthy. And Emerson? Mason asked. She's fine, exhausted, but fine. Can we see them? Nicole asked. Family only for now, and we'll need to discuss the paternity testing. Tanner appeared in the doorway, looking shell-shocked. She's beautiful, he said quietly. She's so beautiful. Congratulations, Rogelio said, standing up. Don't, not yet, not until we know. How long for the DNA results? I asked the doctor. 48 hours for the rush processing. And until then? Rogelio asked. Until then, we wait, Tanner said. The next 2 days were the longest of my life. Emerson stayed in the hospital with the baby. Tanner came and went, torn between his love for the child he'd thought was his and his anger at his wife. Rogelio hovered in the background, unsure of his place in any of this. Naomi was released from the hospital but stayed quiet, finally understanding that her attempts to control the situation had only made things worse. On the 3rd day, the results came in. We all gathered in Emerson's room, Tanner, Rogelio, Mason, myself and Nicole. The baby slept peacefully in Emerson's arms, oblivious to the drama surrounding her birth. The doctor held the envelope. Are you all ready? Everyone nodded. The biological father is... He paused, looking at the paper. Rogelio Fleming. The room was silent. Rogelio's face went through a dozen emotions: shock, joy, fear, determination. She's mine, he whispered. Yes, the doctor confirmed. Tanner closed his eyes. Okay, that's actually a relief. Is it? Emerson asked, tears streaming down her face. Yeah, because now I can walk away knowing I'm not abandoning my child. Tanner, please. No, Emerson, this is where it ends. I'll always care about you, but I can't do this anymore. He kissed the baby's forehead gently. Be good for your daddy, he whispered. Then he left, and we all knew he wasn't coming back. Rogelio approached the bed slowly. Can I hold her? Emerson nodded, carefully transferring the baby to his arms. The change in his face was immediate, pure, overwhelming love. Hi, sweetheart, he said softly. I'm your daddy. What happens now? Mason asked. Now we figure it out, Rogelio said, not taking his eyes off his daughter. We figure out custody and support and how to co-parent with someone who lied to me for over a year. I know you hate me, Emerson said. I don't hate you, but I don't trust you, and that's going to be a problem. We'll work it out, she said hopefully. We'll try, for her sake. Mason put his arm around me. Ready to go home? I nodded. As we walked out of the hospital, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. You know what's funny? I said as we got in the car. What? Your mother was right about one thing. I am barren. Mason looked confused. What do you mean? I smiled and pulled the pregnancy test out of my purse, the one I'd taken that morning, the one that showed 2 pink lines. I'm barren of patience for lies and manipulation and toxic family dynamics, but apparently I'm not barren of anything else. Mason stared at the test, then at me. You're pregnant? 12 weeks. I wanted to be sure before I told anyone. 12 weeks. But that means I was pregnant during the baby shower, when your mother called me barren. I laughed. The irony is pretty perfect, don't you think? Mason pulled me into his arms. I love you. I'm sorry it took all this chaos for me to remember how to show it. I love you too, but things are going to be different now. Different how? Different as in I'm done being the family punching bag. Different as in our child comes first, before your mother's feelings or your sister's drama. I can live with that. Good, because I'm not the same woman who walked into that baby shower. That woman kept the peace at any cost. This woman? I gestured to myself. This woman fights back. Remind me never to get on your bad side. Too late, but lucky for you, I'm feeling generous. We drove home in comfortable silence, leaving behind the wreckage of lies and the beginning of something honest, something real. It had taken fire to clear the ground, but maybe now something beautiful could finally grow.